People who never wants to have kids explain their reason why. Story 1. I'm the oldest of 6. My dad was unhappy with how his life turned out, so he put his emotional bullshit on me and tried to turn me into a parent. While my mom was going through a depression all her own, yet her and my father kept having kids. What I learned through all that is there are people in this world who shouldn't fucking procreate, let alone be married. And if people truly don't want kids, they shouldn't have kids because it only adds another layer of resentment. My dad put all of his emotional bullshit on me while he worked 14 hours a day, not because he had to, mind you, but because he didn't want to fucking come home. And when he was home, he was a dick all the time. I'll tell you, the pandemic forced a lot of realizations regarding why I was such a bully to my siblings, because I was being bullied by my own father. I grew up angry all the time, and I wouldn't have realized that if I had been continuing life as usual. Here's some great advice for people who want kids: make sure you deal with your own bullshit first. Story 2. I decided not to have children, and I think I would have been a terrible mother. I have no problem believing I would give every ounce of myself to care for a child. I just know I'd burn out. I know I'd neglect my own needs and I'd be unable to function. I also don't want to make another me. People ask things like, don't you want to make someone with your kind of intelligence? I live in this brain, and I would not want to inflict my depression, anxiety, and OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, on my kid, so no, 100% no. Story 3. I'm sorry for answering anonymously, but my wife and daughter don't like me mentioning that she is adopted. So, please don't try to determine who I am, despite my writing style being obvious. Even if you do, don't try to learn my daughter's identity. Her privacy is paramount in this. When I was young, maybe 12, I might have wanted children, because their tiny parts were intriguing. However, by about 18 I realized I never wanted children. The first Earth Day and the idea of zero population growth were only the icing on the cake. Only later in life, in my second marriage, did I consent to adopting a child, and I believe that doing so was a mistake, despite loving and respecting my daughter, who has matured into her own woman. Hopefully, in a couple more years she will finish college, get a job, and live happily on her own. I knew correctly that I would be a terrible parent. It is a constant struggle to be even the parent that I am, and I certainly don't enjoy being a parent. The accolades people heap upon my wife and I for raising such a good daughter ring hollow when we know what her behavior is like in private, and that only a small portion of her good behavior can be attributed to us. That's actually okay, because it is good that she is mostly a good person, even if it has little to do with me. I have extreme revulsion to bodily functions, especially messy ones. Thus, babies are particularly an anathema to me. I cannot imagine having to deal with a sick baby. It is bad enough the nightmares I have when I recall the job I had cleaning toilets in McDonald's as a teenager. I definitely feel like there are 10 times too many people on the planet, thus adoption was the only option I could truly be happy with. If you want to eliminate me along with the other 90%, I have no problem with that. I had a vasectomy at the first time I could get a partner to agree to it. I knew that having a child would ruin my sex life and my romantic life, and what little joy it brought me. It even ruins a good portion of my home life. My wife and daughter often have heated discussions that stress me out regularly. I don't like the responsibility that comes with being a parent. I don't even like raising pets, and haven't had one of my own since before 12. It is hard enough being a partner in a relationship where you are dealing with a person on an equal level. It is an order of magnitude worse when the other person isn't capable of holding up their side of the relationship or making and keeping commitments. Story 4. I'm too mentally unstable to provide a quality life for any potential kids. Edit, good gravy. I woke up to a whole heap of responses. I genuinely hope all of you are feeling better today and in a better mood than yesterday. Our issues are ours to bear, and it matters that we keep trying to address them. I did have one nasty comment that is most likely a troll, so I'll say this much and end it. I went beyond self-diagnosis via internet and actually scheduled an appointment with a psychologist last month. This is in addition to being prescribed psychiatric meds from a different hospital. They were supportive and compassionate, but their assessment of me was that I was in need of hospitalization and that I should check myself into an inpatient center. Apparently, if you're too high of a risk of harming yourself, they won't take you on as a client because the duty of care burden is too high and they're not equipped to deal with that level of treatment. Of course, trolls being trolls, that individual is most likely stroking their genitals excitedly while reading this, if they even bother to read this, that is. Story 5. I'm actually blown away that most people end up having kids. I look at having children as a burden onto my ridiculously free lifestyle. I have no obligations or responsibilities except to myself. I will end up saving millions of dollars. I will save hours and hours of time to do more exciting things like travel around the world and watch really cool old movies. I will be able to fulfill my life's purpose of helping people form better relationships with each other. And yes, I understand that I don't realize the wild, unconditional love I could feel for having a kid. I don't want to have to feel such love for my kids in the same way that I don't want to feel such addiction to heroin. I'm sure it feels amazing to watch my offspring run around, but I'd rather just avoid the whole situation altogether and do stuff that I want to do. And yes, I understand that kids will take care of me when I'm old. But guess what? I'm going to be really rich when I'm old, so I won't need a kid to take care of me. Plus, I would love to relieve them of that obligation in the first place. I am simply too selfish to have kids. Plus, my little sister is going to have kids, and I'm going to be the coolest, most loving uncle anyone's ever met. And then, after I've played with my little nieces and nephews, I can go home and do whatever the hell I want alone. Lastly, I just don't feel strongly enough about wanting to carry on my lineage. I'll be dead by then, so I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter to me. When I die, that's the end of the world for me. It's the end of my narrative. And carrying on my lineage is not a big enough sell if I can't actually watch it happen for eternity. As you ask me why I don't want any kids, I think the more interesting question is, why do you actually want kids? Story 6. My husband and I have the kids conversation all the time. We do not want children right now. We've been married for 7 years and don't see ourselves having a baby for a long time, if ever. People ask us all the time when we'll have children or why we don't, disrespectful questions, by the way, and often make us feel bad for not wanting them. I know that because I don't want them right now, I wouldn't be the best mom for them. I don't want that for them. Story 7. I'm the oldest of 10. I never had a childhood since it was mainly raising my siblings. I got a call last month from one of my brothers, who was in the hospital, asking for his social security number. I asked him why didn't he call mom, and he clearly stated, why would I call her? Once I moved out of state around 7 years ago, now my mom calls me asking for important details about them. The main reason why I don't want kids is because I already have them. I may not have had them, per se, but my siblings are my kids, and I'm happy with that. Edit, per se, per se, per se. I get it, lol. My typo is fixed. Story 8. I feel like you pulled the thoughts right out of my brain. I have all of these same reasons, and I wish people would leave it alone after that. I'm the oldest of 10, and I raised my baby sister from infancy to 6 years old. On top of being responsible for 6 siblings at the time, I've gained 3 since I escaped my situation. Changing diapers and warming up bottles at 3 a.m. as a preteen pretty much killed any desire I might have ever had. I've since added a book of reasons not to procreate. Story 9. There's a meme from a while back that goes something along the lines of, "Officer, do you know why I pulled you over today? You were speeding. Do you drive like that when you have your child in the car?" Me. Question mark points to the baby on board sticker. Me. Oh no, you don't understand. I'm baby. Just saying. I had a shitty childhood and teenage years, and even though I'm in my late 20s, I still feel like I'm making up for what I missed out on. Throw on mental and financial instability, and there's no way I'm ever going to be in a place where I'll want a kid. The meme isn't really all that related, it's just one I like to tell when someone asks me when I'll be ready for kids. I'm baby. Edit. Since people are actually upvoting this, does anyone have a link to the meme I'm describing? I've tried finding it again a few times but never had any luck. Story 10. A multitude of reasons. Income. I make maybe $12,000 annually at my current job. Give me all the tax break stipends you want, I can barely support myself on this, let alone a child. Health. I have multiple mental illnesses, most of which are suspected to be able to pass from parent to child. Hell, I may even have some form of autism. The jury is still out on that one, though. Additionally, my family is at increased risk for heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. I'm in my early 20s as my body aches like I'm middle-aged, and I genuinely don't expect to make it past 65 at the latest. I refuse to even risk passing any of this shit show on to another person. My privacy and peace of mind are top priority. With kids, I get no sleep, no silence, and no free time to myself. No thank you. Yeah, I am selfish, as so many are quick to remind me when I tell them I don't want kids. I have hobbies, and hobbies take money, which I don't have much of to spend on them, and refuse to give up for raising another human being. Kids are just too expensive. I am very secure in my choices in life. Money has been hard for a while because I was out of a job for nearly a year, but it's been getting better. I'm able to start paying my debts and saving with a little left over for hobbies. I want a house on a sizable amount of property someday, and having to spend the approximate $250K to raise a kid for 18 to 21 years is a substantial hindrance to that goal. I am adamant about my lifestyle, and as such I have taken precautions to prevent any chance of having a child. So I had a vasectomy. I feel no regrets, and I never will. Story 11. I'm an Annie, and I'm really great with kids. But I will not have my own children. I'm 27. I'm currently going back to school to be a nurse living on the little money I make nannying. That's one reason. I'm truly never too old to focus on only myself and try something new without being responsible for other humans. You ask, so I'm going all out on my reasons, but no disrespect to the people who want children or like being a parent. They cost so much money. The United States is not the place to have children. Your hospital bills will be outrageous and you'll get no time off from work. I like and need my sleep for happiness. I like having morning sex. I get really annoyed with noises. My childhood was crummy, so I want to enjoy myself and experience everything amazing as an adult. They cost so much money. I want to travel. I don't want to change my body. If I have the resources to give, why not give to the people who are already here and struggling? I believe you can have relationships that are just as meaningful and not all consuming. Once again, I'm an Annie. It's easy when in getting paid to sacrifice so much for someone else, but doing it every day for free? No way. Children are so needy. I think it truly takes a village to raise a child, and there are some who are meant to have children and others who are meant to help those who do. Climate change. Laying in bed with coffee on Saturday and Sunday. Having time to go hiking randomly after work. Sitting in silence and just breathing with no interruptions. Long showers. Long poops. Taking care of me. Playing video games. Reading books. Browsing articles. Learning a new language. Furthering my education. Working out. Learning guitar. Having the energy to love my boyfriend fully. And I don't mean you can do some of these things with kids, but I can do all of them at once, while continually adding things on. No matter how fun or cute they can be, there is always dentist appointments, doctor appointments, soccer games, school drop and pick up, school meetings, injuries, braces, homework help, college, permit, license, car insurance, health insurance, school supplies, and growing out of all their clothes, vaccinations, daycare. Story 12. My significant other has bipolar and has spent some time in the mental hospital for it, and we have 2 kids. Everyone keeps telling us unless there is a trigger they should be fine. My significant other was abused and raped as a child, which started her on her bipolar journey. Her mom before her has the same thing happen, and her mom before her. It's been a long history of abuse leading to bipolar. So much of the causes of bipolar are unknown, but from what I have learned from her doctors, is the newest studies show people can have a family disposition towards bipolar, but there needs to be an environmental factor.